Welcome to Whisperwood Stories. Today we're going to read another from nosleep by user Alex the Nobody. Let's begin. This woman is not my mother. I need to tell someone this, and this platform was the first place I thought of. My mother was always a happy woman, always smiling, easily made friends, kind heart, just always brightened the room when she walked in. That was until I got home from school one day. I was taking off my shoes so I could go into her office where I heard her humming. Weird. She's not humming happily as she usually does. No, this time, it's an eerie hum. I look up after taking off my shoes, and there she was, staring at me. Huge, creepy grin and wide eyes. I was quite shocked, and she took note of it and made an effort to soften it, but more or less, it was still creepy. She greeted me with a sing-song voice and waited expectantly for a reply. I stutter on my response but blurt out, "Hello, Mother." She smiled wider. "Darling, why so scared? I'm your mother. No need to be scared of me. What would you like for dinner?" I stared at her for a long time before mumbling a response. "Chicken Alfredo, please?" She softened her smile to a less toothy grin, but it still creeped the hell out of me, and walked to the kitchen to prepare dinner. I grabbed my sketch pad to finish up designs for art class and sat on the couch. I was drawing for so long I didn't even realize she was standing at the doorway, calling me for dinner. I stood up, setting my sketch pad down and walked to the kitchen, grabbed a plate and scooped some Alfredo pasta on it. I sat down and we started eating with an eerie silence surrounding us. The clanking of our utensils and chewing filling up the silence. I started getting uncomfortable, so I cleared my throat and asked Mother how her day was. She had a cold expression on her face, but alleviated it when she looked at me. "It was great, darling. How was yours?" I found this response weird because my mother never calls me darling. She always calls me her little moon pie, or by my name, Selena. I said mine was great as well and continued to shove more chicken Alfredo into my mouth to finish as fast as I could so I could shower and sleep soon. I put my plate in the sink and practically ran upstairs to shower. I got ready for bed after showering, and as soon as I put on music, she knocked on my door. I opened it, and there she was, staring at the door with an intense look in her eye, smiling. I asked what she wanted, and she said she just wanted to say goodnight. I mumbled and shut my door so I could sleep. I fell asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow, but I woke up shortly after, feeling a weird presence behind me. I was too scared to look, so I shut my eyes to try to sleep again, but I couldn't. I peek over, and she's there again, with that same cold stare. She starts to caress my head and walks out of my room, humming. I go back to sleep thinking about her. I woke up early and went downstairs for breakfast. Since it was the weekend, I could do anything I want to. I started pouring cereal, taking note of Mother's hand as she puts her hand down on the counter next to me. She isn't wearing Granny's bracelet. I ask her about it, and she looks shocked and says, "Dear, what do you mean? Granny never gave me a bracelet. Why would you think that?" I was taken aback by this, because I remember very clearly Granny giving her a bracelet. I looked at her with a confused expression, and she looked even more confused than I was. I started thinking and got the horrifying idea that This woman is not my mother. I finished pouring my cereal and practically shoved it down my throat and ran up to my room. I sat in my room on my laptop for hours until Mother, or whoever that woman is, knocks on my door. She tells me that she's going out for a few hours and left money for me to order food. I hear her shut the door downstairs and leave in the car. I sat for a few minutes, contemplating if I should start investigating this. I had to find out if she was my mother or not. I decided to do it and ran downstairs into her office. It would be the easiest place to start. I start looking through her filing cabinets and desk. I don't find anything relatively alarming, just regular work stuff, until I find a journal I've never seen. It isn't locked, so I put it under my arm and continue looking for a few more minutes. I don't find anything else, so I ran upstairs and tossed the journal onto my bed. I went across the hall to Mother's room, but it's locked. I walked back to my room, utterly confused, but even more curious as to what was written in that journal, though I was a little scared as to what I might find. I slowly open the journal and see a name. My mother's name is Janet, but the name in the journal was scratched out, but I could barely make out the name. Claire Sandor. Claire Sandor. That's Mother's twin's name. I quickly flip through the pages and find recent entries. I killed Janet. I was jealous of her and her perfect little daughter. I want her daughter for myself. Why was I cursed without a child? Why was I the sister incapable of having a kid? I killed Janet out of pure jealousy. I know it's sick, but it felt good getting rid of her. But I'll be taking the role of mother now in this household. The pure joy I have just knowing Janet is out of the way makes me so happy. I hope her daughter doesn't recognize me, or even worse, suspect anything of me. That would be awful. I felt sick. I slowly turned the page, but I couldn't muster up the courage to read it. I felt sick to my stomach knowing my mother's twin sister killed her because she wanted a daughter. I hear the door slam and Mother, or should I say Claire, started calling for me. My eyes started tearing up, but I quickly swiped at my eyes with shaky hands and hid the journal and ran down. I nervously looked at her, and she had a curious look on her face. I felt like throwing up just looking at her face. Looking at her closer, she did look a little different than Mother. Sweetie, why do you look so sickly? Are you feeling bad? Do you want me to take your temperature? Said Claire. No, I'm fine, I promise. Why are you home so early? I said, looking at her curiously. That's right. She's only been gone for a few minutes. She clearly stated she'd be gone for a few hours. Oh, I was just missing you. I didn't want to be separated from you for too long. Oh, would you look at that? You didn't even order yourself any food. Do you want me to order something? She said. I stared at her face, taking in each feature that looked different. Her eyes a little more downturned than Mother's, her fingers a little slimmer than Mother's. I think she noticed my staring because she stared at me with that same sickly cold stare as yesterday. I asked her to order food and she smiled and grabbed her phone. I took this time to run to the bathroom. I just need to collect myself before she started suspecting me of knowing anything. I feared what she'd do if she found out I knew about her. Me and Claire ate dinner together, and she asked me a lot of suspecting questions about what I did while she was gone. I think she could tell I was nervous while answering because she slammed her hands on the table, sat up, and started shuffling through the stuff in a cabinet. I ran upstairs to my room, and I hid. I'm currently hiding in my closet. It's a walk-in, so it's big enough to be hard to find me. I'm so scared. I can hear her walking around singing and calling my name. I might try to escape. I will update you guys with anything that happens. Thank you for listening to Whisperwood Stories. If you enjoyed, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe down below. Do you have a story that you'd like me to read here? Consider commenting or sending it to whisperwoodsubmissions@gmail.com. The story in this video was read with the author's permission. Thank you again for listening, and be sure to check out the original Reddit post. Want to support me? Check the link below where you can leave a tip if you wish. And remember, don't let the shadows get too close. Good night.